Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Script to Screen here on Radio Lebanon 96.2 FM. I'm your host, Al Mahana, and as happened the last time,
you broke it.
You
ruined it.
My GoPro isn't working, so apparently I don't have time to fix this. If it's airing out, I don't want to mess with the previous recordings, so we'll just let the GoPro thing die for now.
You'll have the one side GoPro
Yeah, we'll just record you on your end. People don't need to see my face. It's cool.
It's cool.
Nice face, man. Oh, there I am. Hi.
There he is.
You got a nice face, bro. Come on, man.
I'll try.
What, you trying to sell this based on my face? God help you guys.
If you're not completely clued in, this episode is dedicated to comedies.
It's not the documentary one?
No, it's not. And it's also not the biopic one either.
Okay.
So essentially let's see, is it working now? Okay.
Just give up.
Yeah, no, we need your face, bro.
All right.
We need it.
Maybe now it'll work. All right.
We can't do it without you, man.
We need you.
So as you hear, we are not alone on this episode. We are not just Had and I sitting around chit-chatting. Today we have a very special guest.
Indeed.
Good friend of Had's and soon to be a good friend of mine, hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, it depends how this episode goes, man.
Let's see. It's the first date.
Why are you behind the window? Like I feel like you don't want to be next to me.
Because I tech my show, so I don't have anybody teching for me.
It's like prison visit, you know? You have the glass and...
we can't curse on this show.
No,
I just want to know.
All right.
Words.
Yeah, okay. All right, good. I just had to double check that.
The voice that you hear is hopefully is someone very familiar to you guys. It's the one and only Lebanese stand-up comedian, Lebanese-Australian, pure...
لبناني ولا ابن البلد خيي.
So Lebanese stand-up comic and Virgin Radio host, Anthony Salame.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
So you're allowed to say Virgin Radio on this other...
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's not like a Biggie Tupac rival.
No.
I mean,
good.
We're cool. We're open.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have to be open, right?
Yeah.
I guess.
We have to accept each other.
It's all about being open and, coming together and making babies.
Yeah. What?
Sure.
Say what?
Say what indeed. All right. So for any of our listeners who don't know who Anthony is, because we do stream as a podcast on Script to Screen, and we do have many listeners all around the world, not to gloat or anything. No, just kidding.
All around the world, yeah.
All the countries, all the capitals, they listen to us.
They listen to Script to Screen.
Well,
it's their weekly routine.
You can't blame them. It's a damn good show.
Hey,
Thank you.
All right. So why don't you just kind of give us a little quick brief as to how you got into this whole radio / stand-up comic thing?
Well, I mean, listen, do you want the short or the long? I'll give you the short story, right?
Sure.
So I was shooting porn. I'm joking. No, I'm joking.
This is going to be a fun episode.
Yeah. No, I won't curse. You got the beep already? You got the dump button?
We don't have that here. That's what I'm saying. Like, please be careful.
No, I finished high school. It's weird when you're here in Lebanon and tell people you didn't go to university.
Yeah.
They're like, what? You didn't go to university?
You don't have a degree?
Yeah, like I didn't even pass high school. But, it just, for me, I always knew that I was the end goal was somewhere in entertainment,
Okay.
And I went and I studied acting and theatre, and I dropped out of that too. And then I just got into some masrahiyat and by auditions and comedies. And then from there, I had directors that were stand-up comedians, and it just kind of was like a snowball effect. Then this guy sees you in a TV show, and then this guy asks you for this TV show. It just kind of one thing led to the next.
That was in Australia.
Which led to Virgin Radio knocking on my door and saying, "Hey, we're launching in Lebanon. You ever thought about doing radio?" And I was at the start I said no. I'm like, no, radio's not for me. And then I thought, I'd try it for a year. I love Lebanon. And 6 years later, I'm not trying to brag. #1 breakfast show in the country.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but in saying that, this radio station's awesome too.
Thank you.
And yeah, man, just sitting here on Script to Screen.
Oh, yeah.
Doing what we do.
Doing what we do, talking about what we love to talk about, which is movies. Cool.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course.
I mean, I visit them once per week in their studio.
You do betray the show once a week.
I mean, it gets dirty.
We have like a hugging relationship, me and Anthony.
Oh, okay.
It's a hug fest.
How often do you hug this guy?
Every time I see him.
How good is it to hug him?
It's fantastic. It's like it's like a very, very warm and like
ladies,
just loving hug.
Winter is coming, all right? I'm not talking not Game of Thrones. I'm talking about winter is here. Get yourself somebody to hug.
Yeah.
Hattie is the man.
Yes, he is.
Hugging,
yes, he
and
is.
we'll see what happens after the hug.
Well,
you never know.
I'm just a bachelor.
All right, so let's dig right in here and start talking about our favorite comedies. They could be either film or television oriented, as long as they're your favorites. So,
man, TV too?
Yeah.
We got like 3 or 4 hours for the show? Or?
Like 7.
No,
man.
no, we don't. All right, so Anthony, go ahead and start us off here.
Oh my God, this is too hard. Like, are we talking, what do we want to do segments of my life or just in general, or what are we talking? Like, this is
just give us one of them.
What TV or film?
It doesn't matter.
Go for a movie.
All right, let's go for a movie. Let's start from a really young age. A movie, a comedy that stuck with me at a really young age would have to be Naked Gun with Leslie Nielsen.
Oh, yes.
Such a great movie.
Like, this movie for me was one of the first times that I kind of understood what a comedy was compared to like an action or a drama. I would have been just a young kid, and so many of those scenes stand out clear in my mind, and this whole storyline, and I miss comedies like that, man.
Yeah. I mean, we'll be talking about how much we miss comedies like that later on in the show.
But it's all about Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah,
in that movie, he's hilarious.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, he started at a relatively old age. He wasn't very young when he started doing comedies.
And he was in serious movies first, right? He's a serious actor.
Absolutely. And then he comes and hits us with that. And he was in Airplane before that.
He was.
And then he did this.
Airplane was good, but Naked Gun for me was just, you had Priscilla Presley in there and O.J. Simpson. And his partner Norm. Like, it was just the whole cast, I think, just kind of, even the bad guy. They don't see bad guys like that anymore. Yeah, the ring and the curly grey hair and.
Look, it was definitely a completely different time when it came to comedies. People weren't so nervous about offending anyone, and someone getting sad, like I've spoken out loud about this all the time, but like PC culture just killed comedy, man.
PC culture killed art. In general, art is not necessarily a painting on a piece of canvas or whatever. Like, art is, comedy, or whether it's stand-up or jazz or creating some kind of music. And political correct culture, what it's gone and done is just everybody can't express their true self. They can't express their true feelings. Yeah. And art has suffered in result of that,
Absolutely.
It's just, it sucks, man.
Because, the thing that stands out, you guys were talking about the performances. The thing that stands out to me the most with Naked Gun is the screenplay. Because, it's
so witty.
It's so smart. Yeah. It's so smart.
Okay.
It's so...
You say it's so smart. Do you think it would hold up today if Naked Gun was released today? Forget about the PC. Do you think that kind of screenplay?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
But wouldn't it be just seen as this dumb comedy? Like, back then, a dumb comedy still, and let's face it, it's not an intellectual comedy. Yeah. But it still kind of should be big on the box office, Where here now, these days, I don't see that.
It's like very slapstick comedy, and they tried to adapt that, but dumbed it down, like, with the scary movies and that.
Yeah, like they should say nice beaver, and she passes the beaver, or you got something on your chin, there's half a banana drops off. That's very slapstick, but
it is very slapstick. But what I was saying about the smart thing, maybe smart is. I don't mean smart by level of intellect. I mean smart by the way those jokes were written. The way they were built.
Totally.
It was witty. It was absolutely 100% witty. And I think today, I could argue that if you show this film today, a lot of people would laugh.
I think so too.
Well,
I actually think so too.
I want to. It's funny you guys say that because I've been my co-host on Virgin Radio, Sally.
Yeah.
I've been saying to her, you have to watch Eddie Murphy Coming to America.
Yeah.
I've been telling her for over a year. And yesterday I got a text message from her saying, I just watched Eddie Murphy Coming to America and I didn't like it. I thought it was lame. And I haven't replied since.
Okay, yeah.
Like,
You're not, she's fired.
Like, what the and then I thought to myself, hold up, she's nearly 10 years younger. She's from a different generation. She's watching it for the first time. I went back. I watched Coming to America last night.
Yeah.
I just said to myself, how can she not enjoy this?
Yeah, I agree.
This is brilliant.
I agree.
It's genius.
But maybe it's just Sally's type of humor too. Maybe it's not a generation thing. I mean, I'll take my younger brother who's around Sally's age, and he loves those movies. He likes that kind of humor. So I think it depends from person to person.
Yeah.
This is why it's like comedy is the hardest. It's the hardest genre to write for and to act for and to direct for because you know what people laugh at is completely different one person to another.
Totally, everyone's got different tastes, you know.
Had, what about you?
Wow, so many funny movies. I'm gonna go very even older school than Anthony. But I'm gonna start with the father of comedy to me, which is Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah,
what the guy could do without he didn't speak. It was all very physical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and he's hilarious, and it still lives up today. You can watch these scenes. When I go cut my hair at the barber, there's a small TV and they put clips of Charlie Chaplin, and I'm still mesmerized and I start laughing at the same thing over and over again. Him picking up something and then his pants go up, and he was such a comedic genius that there is nothing he did that wasn't fantastic. Even when he took on talking roles like in The Great Dictator. And he always had something to say, even though it was very funny, but he always had a message. And that's why I love Chaplin and the person, Charlie Chaplin, the actor, not the persona you see in the movies, was just fascinating.
It's funny because he had something to say even though he was really funny. It brings back the quote from Walt Disney where he used to say, for every laugh there should be a tear. Mm-hmm. And this is why you have comedy. You need to have one to understand the other, and then vice versa.
Yeah, of course. I mean, without tragedy, where's happiness?
Where's the comedy? Yeah.
Listen, I mean, I never really got into Chaplin, to be honest. I mean, I have watched obviously clips and a lot of that famous monologue that he has. Yeah. And, what is it? The Great Dictator. But I never really got into Chaplin, and I don't know, like.
But if you look at him, he is the father of slapstick comedy.
Totally, and
the whole like Leslie Nielsen and the physical aspect, not the one-liners which are very witty, but the physicality of Chaplin.
Of course.
And then you have actors that mimic him, like Jackie Chan, and that are also very physical in what they do. And
Jackie Chan, I love Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan is hilarious, man.
He's one of the funniest dudes in the world.
I just want to go have a drink with Jackie Chan. Karaoke bar or something.
I love it, man. Jackie Chan's funny. See, for me, like I see a lot of stuff like Jackie Chan, Jean-Claude Van Damme as comedy. A lot of people don't see that as comedy. Even a movie like Scarface with Al Pacino, that has so many lines that have become so famous. For me, I laugh in that movie more than I do say, oh, he's killing people or whatever, you know what I mean? Like just the whole act, the lines in the movie, like the
say hello to my little friend.
Okay. I tell you one time, okay? Second night to the back guy. Like it just, when he's speaking to, I don't know if you guys pick up on this, but when he's on the dance floor dancing with Michelle Pfeiffer and he's like, where you from? Baltimore? I don't know. It's hilarious to me, man.
It is. It's very charismatic. It's kind of funny.
Gotta walk no more, mama.
He does damn good Scarface.
It's hard to quote that movie without swearing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is. Please don't.
It's like 90%.
Yeah, I know. Fun fact: Blink 182 named themselves that because in the movie Scarface, Al Pacino says the F word 182 times.
Wow.
Oh, that's interesting.
A little bit of movie trivia for you.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Music movie trivia.
Did not know that. That's awesome.
Come back next week for your music movie trivia.
How about you, Alan?
I'm actually going to jump sidestep here, not do cinema.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk about one of my favorite comedies, television-wise.
What do you got? I'm interested. I'm ready for this. What do you got?
And this is a series that I have seen from beginning to end, probably, I don't know, like close to 100 times, if not more. I've memorized the episodes and I still laugh like an idiot. It would have to be the US version of The Office.
Yeah, that's funny. That's good.
Yeah.
That's Steve Carell, right?
Yeah,
Steve Carell. Yeah.
I think Michael Scott is probably one of my favorite characters ever in any medium. And again, this is we were talking about Naked Gun earlier. They actually talked to Steve Carell a while back because there have been rumors that it's being rebooted. The Office is being rebooted, and somebody asked him, like, do you think Michael Scott would come back and whatever? And he was like, Michael Scott would not work in today's world. He just wouldn't.
Yeah.
And when you watch episodes of The Office and you think about what he said and you think about our society and PC culture and all that stuff, there's a lot of stuff that people would find extremely offensive today. But they're hilarious. And
Totally.
they're based on truth. Like, that's the thing. It's like comedy's based on truth, and it might not be a beautiful truth. It could be a very ugly truth, but it's based on some stereotype or some truth. And that's why it's funny.
And like you talk about The Office, but I mean, go even further back where you got a show like Married with Children.
Oh, yeah.
With Ed O'Neill.
Oh, that would not air right now.
That would not air at all.
Like, she walks through the door and says, "Hey, Al, have you missed me?" And he turns around and says, with every bullet so far, Peg. Like, and I'm like, come on, that couldn't be allowed in today's
because then you would
society.
be a sexist,
you're insinuating that you want to kill his wife. That's why it's funny.
Yeah.
That's why it is funny. Tell me you've been married for 50 years and you haven't once wanted to just grab a gun and shoot your, your husband or your wife. Seriously. Let's go for one more each really quick before we go on our second musical break.
Oh my goodness, man. What are we? Movies or TV shows? You guys got to help me. My brain's about to explode.
Go for a TV show.
All right, TV show for me. Young age. I gotta say, man, it's hard. Like there's Seinfeld, there's Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, there's Everybody Loves Raymond. All these TV shows for me
kind of look like Raymond.
Oh, come on, Deborah. I used to get that a little bit, especially without the beard as well. But
بس ريمون.
Yeah.
The Lebanese version.
I all those shows. I mean, Married with Children is another one. Even, I don't know if you guys know Different Strokes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Gary Coleman. Like, I grew up on that stuff, you know what I mean?
Old school sitcoms, man, they were the best.
They were. Everyone had a really good, catchy theme as well.
I don't think there are any good new
sitcoms. Oh, absolutely not.
I can't. Personally, with the exception of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Well, that Brooklyn Nine-Nine doesn't count as a sitcom.
Well,
it counts as a half-hour comedy.
Yeah, but as like something funny on TV.
Do you think that's gotten less funny though? I mean, the first two seasons were very strong.
I'm still enjoying it. Maybe it's because there's nothing else to watch that's funny.
Yeah.
But I am enjoying the show.
It's still great. I love Andy Samberg. It's hilarious. Everyone kind of complements each other, right?
I mean, I'm looking forward for its new life on NBC now. Like, you don't know if the comedy is going to change or not because they're on a new network, because that could happen because of them being on NBC instead of being on Fox. Like, they could be a little more loose with their jokes, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but there was one comedy I want to just mention that you guys won't even know what I'm talking about. It was called Acropolis Now. It was in Australia.
Okay.
And what it was, for me, this was life-changing, especially if you're getting into the whole comedy thing, is from 1989 to 1993. So I was 6 years old.
That's a big span of time.
Yeah, we went for like 4 years. It was only like 4 or 5 seasons, right? But 89, I was probably about 6 years old to 7 years old. And these guys created this comedy, and it was about some Greek Australian cafe owners who had inherited a cafe, and they were just running it. And there was like one guy from overseas, and it was hilarious. It was Australian comedy, but these guys were the first dudes I ever saw on TV that looked like me, because in Australia it was just like all white people, right, on every television show. And then I saw these Greek-looking dudes, and I'm like, these guys are making jokes and they're referencing Lebanese, and for me that just made me think, hey, I can even as a kid, like I can do this, get into comedy, awesome. This is so that's one show I just want to give a shout out to, and one of the stars of that show ended up becoming very good friends and working with him later on.
Wow.
Like, isn't that crazy,
so
right?
Cool.
Yeah, shout out to George Capinaris. I don't know if you ever hear this, but
George, hello George.
Had?
I'm gonna go for I'll go for a series.
Okay.
Didn't last very long, but was also very hilarious, called Just Shoot Me.
Yes,
of course.
That was very funny with David Spade, there was the Lebanese lady,
Wendy Malick.
Wendy Malick, exactly.
Yeah.
And it was also very funny. Very probably would not survive today with the models and the shenanigans and the sexist and the sex and everything going on.
Every 7 seconds there's a sexist joke in there.
Yeah, but it was a very, very funny show. The characters were lovable. They had their issues, but again, no more good TV comedies nowadays.
Can you name another one apart from Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Can you
nowadays?
Yeah,
no,
like honestly,
sitcom. I'm trying to think, like
not at all. I mean, there's one right now that's on the air. It's okay. It's not the greatest. It's okay. It's called Happy Together. Damon Wayans' son stars in it.
I haven't seen that yet.
It's not bad. Like I laugh a few times an episode.
I like Damon Wayans Jr.
Yeah,
he's funny, man. He was on like New Girl or something.
Yeah,
I saw it, but the Wayans brothers, they made good comedies back in the day, right?
Yeah, they
did.
Early. Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's no new sitcoms, right?
No.
There's nothing.
It's like a drought of comedy.
It is.
Oh, there was Louis. Louis came on. That was pretty dark.
That was
kind of. It was funny. F is for Family is pretty good. Which
I've seen the first season.
Bill Burr's
pretty good.
Animated series, which but there's nothing timeless, right?
No.
Nothing that will say, oh, hey, in 20 years we could still put this on. Like I could still put any random episode of Seinfeld on, and even Friends, man. Like all right, it's the cheesy pop culture, but let's not deny that it's one of the best written sitcoms in the history of television.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like 6 characters, they take one out, the show doesn't work. They all kind of complement each other, you know?
They tried to do it with Joey.
It didn't work.
Yeah, it's a funny show, man.
It is.
But I didn't get a chance to give a second film, so I'm just gonna drop it real quick.
Drop it.
It's a film from the 80s. It's a comedy, also obviously a comedy. And it starred Barbra Streisand. It's called What's Up, Doc? I think the film.
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Extremely hilarious. The plot line is very simple. It's like these 5 people who all have very similar suitcases end up in the same place, and the suitcases end up switching. Owners.
I think I have. Maybe I've seen that.
And it's just chaos that ensues. It's very slapstick, but it's very, very, very
Is it based
funny.
in a hotel?
Yeah. The majority of it is based in a hotel.
Is John Candy in it? Or
I think that's his name.
the fat guy, right?
Yeah.
From Uncle Buck. John Candy.
Home Alone. The guy in the first Home Alone.
Is he in Home Alone?
Yeah, he is. John Candy is in Home. He takes the mother back home in the truck, and he's playing the.
Oh, that's right. He is too.
Yeah. No, I don't think John Candy.
Chevy Chase, maybe. I think Tupac appears in that movie for a glimpse. I think. It's the same movie.
I'm not sure.
Is there a scene in a courthouse or something?
At the end.
Yeah. Tupac appears in that
Tupac
scene.
and Barbra Streisand. That's wow.
Yeah. There you go.
So here I'm just I'm Googling it real quick.
It's like a setup of a joke. Tupac and Barbra Streisand walk into a bar.
There's no 3G because it's storming outside. So
that's cool. Can I? I haven't seen that movie.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
I don't know why I've seen that last scene though. Maybe I have seen the movie and I can just remember that last scene. But before when that Beatles song was on, we were just off air. Sorry to interrupt, man.
No, it's all right.
Me and Hadi were just having a conversation, and he was saying we were talking about just political correctness, how it's just kind of, chilled humor. And he was talking about Jimmy Carr. He goes, do you know Jimmy Carr? Are you a fan of Jimmy Carr?
Oh, yeah.
So I just want to tell you my Jimmy Carr story. So I was touring doing stand-up before I moved to Lebanon for 10 years, around the world. And 2010, I performed at the Montreal Comedy Festival.
Yeah. Isn't that like a big comedy festival?
Yeah, so it's the biggest in the world.
Yeah,
you have to be invited to perform there. You can't just go to a show.
Okay, wow.
The festival has to send you or your management an invite to come and perform. So like I was doing shows with Bill Burr, Jimmy Carr.
Yeah.
And are you all right, man? So
the laugh.
He does have that laugh.
I love that. It's like,
well, this is the story, right? So I was on stage, and the way it works in Montreal is they're all show chasers. So you usually got 7 minutes. Everyone has 7 minutes, and you do show chases. So you'll see you got 7 comedians doing 7 minutes in this place or whatever. And I was on a lineup with Jimmy Carr, and I could hear that laugh at the back of the room, and I was just like, wow, man, that's amazing. He was like laughing at my jokes. The next day, everyone stays at the Hyatt in Montreal. That's the hub for the comedy festival. I'm walking in the lobby, and I hear someone say, hey, mate. And I turned around. It's like Jimmy Carr.
oh, my God.
And he goes like, great set last night. You brought the effing roof down. Like, I'm not going to. And I'm like, thanks, man. Thank you very much. And it's just kind of, and he walked off and went on his way. And I'm like, man, Jimmy Carr just came up to me and said, great set.
Wow.
That's awesome.
So that's my Jimmy Carr story.
I think we should just end the show on this note. We're done.
See you next week.
Yeah, man. It's
that's crazy. That's so cool.
That's a cool experience. Montreal Comedy Festival,
definitely.
man.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, again, what got us talking about Jimmy Carr and that is that, again, political correctness and how I think today writers, when they want to write a show, they're afraid to tackle certain things or say certain things. And that's why I think we don't have good comedies anymore.
Well, right. Well, when you live in a world where millennials look at Friends and call it one of the most offensive sitcoms.
What?
Yeah.
Who's calling Friends offensive?
Millennials.
The millennials, which I mean,
like,
technically speaking, I belong to the millennials.
But who listens to them people anyway?
Yeah. No. So like you've got people calling, saying that
Joey's sexist.
Joey's a sexist. People fat shame Monica.
Chandler's homophobic.
Chandler's homophobic. It's transphobic. It's whatever. And I'm sitting there going, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God, man.
What?
Yeah. Listen, you say you're a millennial. I don't think a millennial is someone that falls in that age bracket, because there's people that fall in that age bracket that think like a normal human being.
Right.
Like,
Absolutely,
I think millennial has now become this thing like hipster or whatever, where it's a way of thinking, and it's a, I don't know.
The first time I read it, I literally did the Chandler high-pitched what?
It's a Mickey Mouse, what?
Hot dog. Okay, so
that's not bad.
Thanks. Okay, Goofy.
Who's that?
Okay, we're sitting here making noises. People are listening to
What's
us.
happening?
I'm 35 years old.
We're mutating.
Okay, so we talked about favorite comedies. Let's start talking about favorite performances in a comedy, and just pick one because I'm sure we could talk about it for forever. So just one standout performance in a comedy, film, or television series that really stood out to you.
Stand up?
No, like it stood out to you. Not stood up to you.
Eddie, I thought you were talking about maybe stand-up comedy. No, Eddie Murphy. Can I go first? Is that
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy in Coming to America. Just the one that stands out. I mean, he plays just so many different characters, and this guy was someone where African American young dudes weren't superstars. He was like the first, and the comedians weren't superstars in general. This is a guy that, and this movie was a big. I mean, this was one of the reasons why he blew up, but for this guy to just come out and did what he did and play all those different characters, and I still say to this day how he did not get nominated for an Oscar and not win an Oscar for that movie.
Yeah,
I know they don't really look at comedies like that. They don't really acknowledge him at all. But that body of work And what he did, I mean, come on, man. You're telling me if Christian Bale goes and loses 20 kilos and pretends like he's on crack, he's getting nominated for an Oscar. But Eddie Murphy, Christian Bale's a beast, all right, but Eddie Murphy goes and plays 8-9 different characters, including white people, and you just watch those characters as if that's a totally different actor. That's like Al Pacino level.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
And to not even get acknowledged, I don't know, man. That's why I feel those whole industry awards are, you know.
Oh, yeah. The Oscars are beyond. I mean, nobody really looks at them as anything more than a spectacle than anything else.
But that's my movie, man. That's my... man.
And the Oscar goes to La La Land. Just kidding. Come here, Moonlight. Grab it. You know, like, what? Okay.
Yeah. It's for me, coming to America, that was...
No, definitely. It's super. It's hilarious. What was the chain? McDougal's? What the
McDowell's.
Yeah. For him being all proud and mopping.
Yeah. You know, Samuel L. Jackson's the guy that comes in and holds up the...
I think it's one of his first, if not his first role. But I remember watching that movie and
it's hilarious.
Like, crying.
It's absolutely hilarious.
I can't say this,
My
but
dad
when he opens
it.
the windows and he's like, what? Something America, hello. And then someone gets like, an F you. F you too.
Good morning. I love you.
Hey, man.
Yeah, that's going to be the one that stands out for me. I mean, there's so many. But I mean, is there going to be a part of this show where we can just like name so many different comedies that we love?
Yeah, sure. Maybe towards the end.
Yeah, because there's so many that I just want to recommend to people out there to go watch.
Sure. Hud? Favorite performance?
Favorite performance? Well, one of my favorite performances has probably got to be
Will Ferrell in Elf.
I love Will Ferrell. I love freaking Will Ferrell, but no. I'm going to go for Steve Carell in The 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Nice.
Wow.
Okay.
Because it was like, I think it was his first lead role in the movie.
Yeah.
And he took something like a topic which is kind of taboo-ish.
Yeah, for sure.
And made it funny and made the guy lovable. And because he could have been such a creep. He could have been so...
100%.
Yeah, and then that waxing scene.
Oh, yeah.
Which you guys know is actually real.
Yeah.
And everything he says is improvised. And you have a part where Seth Rogen and I think Paul Rudd just exit the massage room because they cannot not laugh.
It's funny. It's very funny.
It's freaking hilarious.
I actually heard that because he yells at Kelly Clarkson in one of the times.
Exactly.
And he was saying that he never really heard from her or never reached out to her, and he goes, but he was a fan of her music. But that's funny. That's a very funny scene. That's a great movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Funny. It's got heart. It's
one of the first Apatow ones, right? Of that style, because Apatow's kind of created his own genre now, right? So
with a lot of improv and you have a lot of actors in that movie which later became stars, like Seth Rogen, Paul Rudd,
Kevin Hart.
Yeah. Oh, he has a very tiny role.
Cameo in it. Yeah,
exactly. Jane Lynch. So a lot of
Jane Lynch. That's right.
Very, very funny lady.
She is
hilarious.
She is a very funny lady.
So I'm going to go for 40-Year-Old Virgin.
All right. Well, you, as usual, we can't not cross over at some point, because I was going to go back and say Steve Carell in The Office for me.
Okay.
I kind of mentioned it earlier, but I kept trying to think of someone else that's really stood out for me with like a character embodiment of, whatever it is in a comedy. For me, Steve Carell is just, Michael Scott is, for me, this is why the last season of The Office is just kind of, the last two seasons of The Office, 8 and 9, where there's no Steve Carell. For me, they're funny, but they're not as funny. Like, it just doesn't work without Michael Scott.
How do you compare it to the British version with Ricky Gervais?
I like the British version with Ricky Gervais. I just don't know if the heart was there. And there's a lot of heart in the US version of The Office.
Okay.
There isn't a lot of heart in the UK version. It's very just like the very dry comedy, the UK comedy.
Yeah. All right. Very cool.
Whereas there's this human element, like you want to punch him in the face, but you can't not want to hug him at the same time. There is a lot of heart in the US version, and that's what I love about it the most.
Yeah, listen, every time I've watched an episode of The Office, I've laughed a lot.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the whole series. I haven't even sat down and watched a season.
Okay.
After this, I'm thinking that I definitely should.
You have to.
Because every time I've watched it, there's scenes where they kill me. Like one that stands out is like they're doing parkour or something. It's
parkour. Yeah. It's so great. It's so great. right?
Yeah.
Where Jim is like parkour is like where you're trying to go from one place to the other in the most creative way possible. And you know, and if place A is delusion and place 2 is like whatever, then that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, it's very funny.
So great. Oh man, yeah. No, for me, Steve Carell as Michael Scott, hands down.
Steve Carell's a beast, man.
Yeah. He is a beast, and now he's doing all these dramas, and I'm like, dude,
and he does it well.
He's very talented.
Like I can't wait for Beautiful Boy for that exact reason, because it's Steve Carell, and it's
Yeah,
he was creepy as hell in Foxcatcher.
Oh yeah,
he did that well. Right?
He was scary. I was like, what the hell is wrong with this guy?
It kind of reminded me of what I felt like when I watched 1 Hour Photo with
Robin Williams. Yeah.
Oh, Robin Williams killed that.
Yeah, he was also very scary. I mean, pop out the TV and
like I didn't even think I've gone back. It wasn't like a great movie, but his role in that, Robin Williams,
so creepy,
so creepy
with the hair.
With
the blonde.
With the blonde hair.
Short hair.
Oh
So now that we've kind of covered, what our favorite stuff is, how about we dig a little deeper and start talking about, like, what is it exactly that we look for when we go see a comedy? What is it that we are expecting, or what are things that we look for in a comedy?
Funny.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's...
Yeah, I mean, no, I know it seems so basic and you think to yourself, oh, duh.
Yeah.
But you go watch any comedy that's released on the big screen these days. The jokes aren't the main priority. Yeah. It's about special effects. Mm-hmm. It's about making sure there's a character that represents every minority. Like the whole political correct thing we were talking about. And I'm not someone that just tries to start fights with PC people.
Right.
No, I'm not. I'm just stating the obvious, right? All these comedies that we're mentioning, what's the number one key element that makes them work? That they're writing and the delivery of the jokes, all of them. Give me a quote from a movie that's been released in a comedy movie, like funny quotes, like we're quoting The Office, we're quoting Married with Children, that's from the 1980s. Give me a movie in the last 5 years that you can just quote a comedy that's been released.
I'm going to give you one better. Name me a funny movie you've seen in the last 4 or 5 years.
Like a really laugh out loud funny movie.
I don't think I have, man.
I can't remember like anything that was so hilarious.
Yeah, that was my biggest problem with Tag. And you remember when we talked about Tag?
Yeah.
That was my biggest
problem. Hold on. No. There is one. Made me laugh out loud. Brothers Grimsby, but only certain scenes, like Sacha Baron Cohen.
I didn't see that, so I don't know.
Oh, bro, there is scenes in that movie.
But there are other scenes which were like, I can't look at this. The elephant scene.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I know you're going to look at it.
I was like, no. Terrible scene.
It's a terrible scene, but Sacha Baron Cohen can make me laugh out loud, man. He can. I don't know. He can.
Okay.
Yeah, for me.
But yeah. So like what was I saying? Tag, right? So one of my biggest issues with Tag was like exactly what you said. There was so much focus on the special effects of the tag game.
Yeah.
That the comedy was it was like in a backdrop. Like it wasn't even that hilarious. I was literally looking at it going, what am I watching? Like, is this supposed to be an action movie? Like, a horror movie? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what happened to all the good writers. I just feel like, that they forget to make the scripts funny, and I'll be the first person to say that's what counts. I shot a pilot for a sitcom where I invested a lot of money into it, and I never put it out there because I didn't think that it was funny enough. I got lost. It was my first major project I'd shot sketches, but I'm talking for television.
Wow, okay.
Like for streaming services, I'm talking like a massive project. And it just, I got lost with all the different cinematography, and we got to take these drone shots, and I totally got blinded by all that. And I forgot the number one rule. I'm a stand-up comedian, man. Story.
Words.
Where's the jokes?
Yeah.
Well, what do I, growing up or just now, like what do I love seeing? I love when there's scripts with every second or third line is a punchline. It's a joke. You're going to laugh. I mean, that's what we love in comedies. We're sitting here complaining about it, and I made the number one mistake. So I'll be the first to say, man, jokes are the number one thing I look for in a comedy.
Had?
I'm not gonna say something very different from Anthony, but yeah. And again, going back to something I said earlier, again, I have an issue with people being too scared of saying certain things.
Right. Yeah.
I miss the boldness or the not thinking about something and just doing it and saying it without being worried of the consequences, because at the end of the day, it's a comedy. It's supposed to make you laugh. It's not more than that. It's
and
not.
If we can't, I mean,
it's not someone insulting someone.
Right. And if you can't laugh about yourself and laugh about truths about, within your culture or whatever, or gender, or if you can't do that, then we are in a seriously ugly world right now.
Yeah.
If we can't even laugh at ourselves or accept a joke. We
are totally in that world, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. We are in an ugly world, and that's where we're living. And as a comedian, for me, this is, 10 years ago, I was getting reviews by people coming to my comedy festival show saying this guy's sexist, this guy's homophobic, because you're right, jokes about real experiences, and because there's a gay guy in the joke, he's homophobic. Because, you talk about a story with a woman and might have a sexual encounter or whatever. He's sexist. He degrades women. That was 10 years ago. We have become 1,000 times more sensitive today.
Yeah, exactly. Enabling victimization and being overly sensitive.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you mean you blinked your eye?
You looked at
Wake up, people. Wake up.
I don't even know if we mentioned that this was a spotlight episode. I don't even know if we did that.
What does that mean, spotlight?
Those are our Friday episodes are spotlight episodes.
Okay.
So they're
we focus on.
Yeah, so we focus on one specific thing, and our Saturday shows is our news hour show.
Okay, can we have to do a part 2 of this?
We have to.
Yeah.
No, because I've named maybe 3 movies.
Sure.
And the hour's nearly over.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I have to keep talking.
It is nearly over. It's 10 minutes away.
Because I was just saying, I don't have these conversations about movies with hardly anyone,
Well, you're welcome here anytime.
Yeah, no, we got to do part 2.
We will.
We'll do part 2.
All right.
So let's jump into our final segment here and start talking about our unforgettable scenes. So those are scenes from comedies that are completely unforgettable. So moments, sequences, or whatever that have stuck with us to this day. I'm going to go ahead and go first real quick just to get it out of there. My favorite, it is also office oriented.
Do you watch anything else?
Not right now. Honestly, because I've got a lot going on. So I'm one of these people that needs to have something playing in the background. So I've been just binging Office constantly. And it comes from season 5, and it's the episode called Stress Relief. And it's when the character Dwight tries to do a fire warning within the office, and everybody gets strapped, and it's just utter pandemonium in the office. With Michael screaming bloody murder, women and children first. Oh my God, it's happening. It's so great.
I think I may have seen that episode.
It's so great. It was actually the Super Bowl episode, because in the US, some shows get to have an hour-long special or whatever during the Super Bowl. And it was the Super Bowl episode of The Office. It's a 2-parter, but it's absolutely hilarious. I cannot, I have to pause sometimes because I can't stop laughing, because I'm just
I love that stuff, man.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so smart. And then at the end, he's just like, this was a test. And then, one of the characters gets a heart attack and falls over. It's utter pandemonium. It's so good. It's so great. So that's my unforgettable scene.
All right. Go for it. I'm going to have a think about it, man. Unforgettable scene. I've got one. It's a good question.
I've got one from, I can never memorize the name of the movie, but it's the Borat film.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's called Borat.
No, it's called Cultural Learnings of Kazakhstan.
I think it's called Borat.
For Make Benefit America.
Yeah,
it has super long title.
Yeah, but people know it as Borat, so you're good.
So the Borat movie. There's the scene where Borat walks into Azamat, the big chubby guy, and he's masturbating over Pamela Anderson.
Oh no!
And they're both naked, and they start fighting, and then they're on top of each other, and then they run around the hotel, and they stay in the elevator, and there's a person in the elevator looking at them like, what's happening? And then they end up in the middle of a conference, naked and fighting. Right. And the funny thing is that they're the only 2 people acting, but everyone else around them isn't. They actually don't know what's happening.
Man.
Yeah,
it is
that's
hilarious. It made me cry. And when Sacha Baron Cohen won the Golden Globe for Best Actor, he has one of the funny speeches about that scene. It's something like he thanks the actor who played Azamat for having his 2 Golden Globes on top of him. And when he visited the US, he went into very dark places, which was into the anus of his co-host. It's just so watch that scene and then watch the speech. And it's just
when you actually said memorable scenes, that scene like flashed into my brain because that is a memorable scene.
You can never unsee it because it's disgusting, but it's so funny at the same time.
It was. You know what? Like I've got a list of movies that I said, I have to mention these movies while I'm here. Maybe I can think, one of, because when you're saying unforgettable scenes, I mean, there's just so many movies that pop into my head. I mean, oh my goodness. Man, Hear No Evil, See No Evil.
That's such a classic.
Yeah.
Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder.
Such a classic.
Yeah.
Such a classic.
Man, the movie Friday. Do you guys know the movie Friday with Ice Cube and Chris Tucker?
Yeah.
I don't. I haven't seen it.
I'm just.
They did next Friday.
And they did Friday after next as well. They did 3 of them. They weren't as good. Chris Tucker was only in the first one. I'm just trying to think of a scene, man. But there's just, my brain is literally exploding.
So we'll leave that as the cliffhanger then.
I don't know. To pick a scene, I'm not sure. Like, I just feel like if I pick one scene, there's so many other movies that I'm not doing them justice.
Now, it doesn't have to be the best scene. It could be a scene.
A scene.
A very hilarious scene.
Oh, my God. A very hilarious, man. You put me under pressure now. I'm the dude that can talk underwater non-stop. And you've
Look what we've done. We've broken Anthony
Salame.
You've broken me. I don't know how I'm going to be put back together again. Like Humpty Dumpty. Give me a movie. That's the...
Go for Friday. Go for Coming to America. Anything by Eddie Murphy. The Golden Child.
Golden Child, yeah.
I know you're a massive Eddie Murphy fan, so...
I am an Eddie Murphy fan. I'm just trying to think. There's got to be something that resonates with me. This is probably now I'm going to name a scene and it's not going to do it justice because it's this big build up. And then I want to name something so simple. How about Jim Carrey in Ace Ventura?
Okay. Yes. All right.
The scene at the end where it's kind of like unveiling everything and the
first
captain,
one, right?
In the first one, and then the captain, and then he kind of pulls her dress off and she's got the big man feet, and then he discovers that she's a man, and then he jumps into the bath and he's scrubbing himself and he's vomiting, and I don't know, that's kind of.
But still, it is a hilarious scene.
It is a very funny scene.
It's
very
a great
funny
scene. On that note, we're gonna say a massive thank you to you, Anthony.
Thanks, man.
We cannot wait to have you again for part 2.
Yeah, I've got to be prepared. I've got to be prepared for that memorable scene question next time.
You have all the time you want and you need, and you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you, man. Thank you. And listen, keep tuning in to this podcast, to this show. These guys are doing amazing things. There's no one out there really kind of just talking about movies and TV shows, and we all love movies and TV shows so much. So get behind it. Support these dudes, man. They're doing a great thing. You guys are great, man.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you.
seriously.
On that note, if you want to follow us on social media, you could do so on my end at Alamahana. That's for Instagram, and
Had.solo
for Instagram, and
Anthony Salame.
Yeah.
at Instagram.
At Instagram. Hey, can I just say there's a couple of movies I want to recommend to some people out there.
Really quick.
Really quick. The CB4. It's one of Chris Rock's first movies.
Okay.
House Party.
Yeah.
Okay.
1 and 2. Amazing.
Okay.
Even if you've got some extra time, House Party 3. And this is a movie that is not really comedy. It's just a great movie. John Favreau wrote and directed it and starred in it. Chef.
Yes.
If you love if you love food and you love a feel-good movie, Chef.
Lots of heart.
Yeah,
Lots of heart indeed. Lots of heart indeed. You can also catch this episode or catch us on Facebook and YouTube. You can stream our podcast on all podcast platforms. We're working on the Spotify thing. It's going going to come a little sooner. Apparently, you can listen to the podcast on Spotify if you don't live in Lebanon.
All right, awesome. Sorry I'm not better looking for all the people watching this.
It's okay. You have this, so you're fine. You're good.
Yeah, but try and find this man and hug him.
Yeah. Get a laugh out loud hug from the Hod Solo. Thank you again for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place, and we'll see you tomorrow for a brand new Script to Screen News Hour. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.